How long does it take to heal your narcissism? I get this question a lot from two groups of people, either from the loved ones of narcissists, so like someone who's in a relationship with a narcissist, or the narcissists themselves, who are both of which seeking healing. And I think there's actually two very different answers based on who you are. So I'll answer the first one first. If you are the loved one of a narcissist, you're wondering how long until this person changes. And that really is dependent on how long until they wake up to their narcissism. Because you can make certain improvements to your narcissism. You can work on your empathy. You can work on your anger. But anger management classes ain't going to help your narcissism. It's not going to make you a more empathetic person. It's not going to fix a lot of the core issues because it's just the core problem is very much different. And so the question I think is a related question is asking something like, how long is it going to take till I catch a fish? And that's kind of random, to be honest. Like, granted, the longer you leave your hook in the water, the higher chances that you will catch that fish. But it really is out of your control as the person who is the loved one of a narcissist. So I think that there's some helpful guidelines for if you're trying to help your narcissist wake up. First thing is to do it with love. Inherent to narcissism is the fact that they feel they are worthless deep down. That's what causes it to begin with. And so if you're going to go ahead and throw the asshole diagnosis at them, there's not a very good chance that they are going to react positively to that. I see this in my support groups where people are like, yep, I basically confronted him in front of the therapist. I pulled up audio recordings. I got all this proof. I got a whole bunch of people around me and that made an intervention. And now he's freaking out. I'm like, yeah, he's freaking out. It's like you threatened an addict and said, we're going to take away your only pain relief. It's just honestly not going to work. They are already running from themselves enough, and confronting them like that will not make it happen. And that's what happened to me too. My ex, as we were already divorced, we were having this fight and she yelled at me. Well, this is all through text, but she all caps yelled at me and said, "You are such a narcissist." And I never even considered it before. I'd never been told that, I was kind of surprised by it. So I started to do some reading on what narcissism was and was like, this isn't me. There's 9 boxes there and I only check 6 of the 9, not all 9. So it's not me, and I literally did that sort of mental gymnastics to try to escape it. And, fast forward to my relationship with Kira, she was very gently pointing at things, like, ooh, I wonder, or she would kind of use herself like, oh, I would do that because of shame. I wonder if that's something you can look at. Like, and, I could give you all sorts of word tracks and ways to say things, but at the end of the day, if you're doing it from a place of love versus trying to like catch them or point at them, it will be a very different experience. The narcissists themselves will feel it. At the end of the day, I feel like Kira could have probably, by the time I came to realize I was narcissist, she probably could have said something to the effect of, do you think there's a chance you have it? And I think I could have listened because I felt so deeply that she cared for me. And I have seen this happen a lot. So I've had a lot of people who are now clients of mine who started watching my content and binge watched it to the point where they said, this is totally me. I think I've got a problem. But it all started from a loving prod from a partner who said, can you look at this? I think this might be it. The other way is that where I see someone very lovingly setting boundaries saying, I love you to death, but if you're not willing to take care of yourself or look at this, I got to leave. And again, this wasn't like a, you're the worst and so I'm leaving. It's, I love you so much if only we could figure this out, but I just also need to take care of myself. So setting those loving boundaries, also a really amazing way. So you can't force someone to wake up. You can't force them to just like, that's why it really is like waiting to catch a fish. It's like, it's going to happen what's going to happen. And so you as the loved one of a narcissist need to tell yourself, how much time am I willing to give this? How much energy am I willing to give this? How much fighting am I willing to put up with before I'm abandoning myself so much that I can't even look at myself anymore, right? Or probably want to pull it back to do it sooner than that. But you need to check in and say, how much energy can I give to this? Because it's a gift. You don't owe them anything. You don't have to stick around for them to wake up. You literally are giving them the gift of trying to help them see their narcissism before stepping out of their life. So there's the first camp of people, loved ones of narcissists. Once someone has woken up, I think it's a different comparison. And I would compare this point, asking the question, how long until I can heal my narcissism, as like asking the question, how long does it take to go up a mountain? And there's a few things that matter to this. Are you going to run or walk up that mountain? What route are you going to take? And which mountain are we talking about? Are we talking about Everest, or are we talking about something else? So, which mountain are we talking about? Some people are a 10 on the narcissism scale. Other people are a 6 on the narcissism scale. They're both narcissists. They both will struggle in relationship. But one of them might have been having this problem for decades. They might be in their 60s. Another one might be in their 20s. One of them might have massive trauma from childhood, sexual abuse, witnessing atrocious things that I just don't even want to say on camera. And others, maybe not as much. So it really is a different mountain for every person who's trying to heal their narcissism. They just have a very different thing to approach. And next, I would say, so I guess that point is like all results are different. Some people can see results really quickly. Others, it might take a little while. And I'll say at the end where I see with some of my clients and with myself certain shifts when it comes to time. So but let me say the second piece. So let's see, which mountain, how fast are you going? Narcissism, in my opinion, is not something you can just like go to therapy once a week and just like, it'll go away. Like narcissism is something you have to lean into a lot of painful childhood memories and wounds. You have to lean into fears. And these fears and deep-seated insecurities are what are causing the narcissist to be so controlling and manipulating to begin with. So like as big as there is a strong protector that is trying to get them to be aggressive toward people, there is a very tender, exiled part of them that they need to like bring into the light and to love again. But that's extremely scary. It's extremely hard. I make every one of my clients sign a paper that's just their commitment to healing, which is saying, I know this is going to be painful. I know this is going to be extremely difficult. I know this is going to be extremely scary, but I will lean into it. And if I have people who are not leaning into it, I'm like, I don't want to work with you. I honestly don't want to, because I do not want to waste my time. I want to help people heal because it's extremely gratifying for me. So the last part is, what route are you taking? I think that just like in life, there are so many different routes you can take. You might go right up the face of the mountain and you might fall and burn yourself out and end up creating more trauma than you started with if you do it wrong. Or you could also take the intelligent route that doesn't have any detours, that just kind of goes right up the trail. And that's kind of what I've been dedicating my life at this point to trying to curate, is what does that path have to look like? At this point, I have my own experience and a handful of clients who have been walking this path. And I've started to notice certain things that work. And so I'm putting it into this program where people can come in and within 90 days or so have a better understanding of their narcissism, the wounds that caused it, some elements of healing and what they need to do. And then more importantly, all the tools that they need to go on and finish the journey. And I believe, to answer the question, I said earlier, is how long have I seen it? I think that in 90 days, in about 3 months, you can see exciting improvements in somebody. Their empathy has shifted. Their perspective on themselves has shifted. Their defensiveness has shifted. And this is really, really fun for me to witness. People being more honest with themselves, honest with others, caring. And it's beautiful because they start to have kind of like this heart opening where they're like, they can see the humanity around them. The people that they used to not even engage with, they're stopping and saying, hey, how are you? I want to get to know you. And they're just opening their heart to the world, most importantly to their loved ones. And so I think that 3 months, honestly, you can see some pretty big shifts. At the year mark, if you have truly been investing in yourself and working, 10 to 15 hours a week on this, I truly think that you would hardly recognize yourself. And I think that because that's just been my experience. And I'm starting to see that with a few of my clients. But I think that healing is possible for anybody, for anything that they want. If the mind was meant to be malleable, it was meant to make these changes. And so if you're leaning in, you're doing the work, facing the uncomfortable parts, I think it's totally possible.